Okay, in this video I'm going to try to give you a good overview of Chapter 3 in the ONS, the Cisco ONS DWDM System Guide. And Chapter 3 is entitled Install the Control Cards. I'm not printing out every page of it, but what we're going to do then is we'll look at the table of contents of Chapter 3. I guess I didn't print the whole thing out, but it includes first a number of cards that are legacy cards. Let's see, the cards that are included. Okay, so it says here the following common control cards are needed to support the functions of DWDM, transponder, and muxponder cards on the shelf. TCC2, TCC2P, that's 2 plus, or TCC3. Sorry. And here's sort of the first little bit of a hint I can show you about how to read these things. This is showing card compatibility with various revisions of the software. So you can see it starts off with a revision 4.5 through revision 7.2 here. And the various control cards are the TCC2, the TCC2 Plus, or the 2P, the AICI, the MS ISC 100T. And you can see now that the TCC3, the TNC, the TSC, the TNCE, and the TSCE cards, none of these cards are compatible with Rev 4.5 through Rev 7.2 of the software. In other words, these cards on the left side here are the legacy cards, whereas the new generation is over here on the right. Let me turn the page and we'll go to Rev 8 through Rev 9.3 of the software. Okay, and you can see here that through Rev 9.1 we have no compatibility of the new generation cards with the software. Okay, and then starting with software Rev 9.2 the new cards come in. And in fact with Rev 9.2 we have the TCC3, the TNC, and the TSC, but we don't have the TNCE and the TSCE cards. So these two are the very newest in the bunch. Okay, and you can also see here that the TCC3 is compatible with the 15454 DWDM. That is sort of the main platform. That's sort of the big 15454 box, the MS TP box, this one. Okay, that's the big box. You got to have one of those. Okay, smaller boxes include the M6 here and the M2 here. Okay, so we looked at those, and so we have the big box and we have the two smaller boxes for the transport platform. Okay, and here they're talking about 15454, the DWDM, that's the big box, and then you can see that the TNC and the TSC are compatible with the smaller boxes only, the M2 and the M6. Okay, so these cards come only for the small boxes. Okay, so that's the first sort of hint as far as reading these things. You can look at these software compatibility tables and get a feel for the evolution in time of the product release of these various cards. Okay, so it starts off with the TCC2 card. So this was the first one in our list, and it says it's for the ONS 454 only. It doesn't work in the M2 or the M6. Okay, and it says here that this card is for advanced timing, communications, and control. Timing, communications, and control. That's TCC2. System initialization, provisioning, alarm reporting, maintenance diagnostics, IP address, sonnet section overhead, datacom, and generic COM channel. Okay, so this is the controller card. It takes care of the timing. Okay, here is the picture, the block diagram of this card. And in this block diagram, it shows on the left the faceplate, what it sort of looks like, and it also shows this block diagram. I'm not going to go into much detail about this block diagram. A couple of things you can notice though. Minus 48 volt power monitors. Most of the telecom equipment in the world runs on 48 volts DC, and that's because you can have battery backup on site for the equipment. Okay, if you've got power coming in, you can convert it to 48 volts DC, and it's great. If the power goes out though, you go to backup batteries, and running on DC is very convenient for running on backup batteries. So you can see we've got our real-time clock here. We've got our FPGA. This is where Cisco makes its money in designing these field programmable gated arrays specific to these tasks. You know, you've got a processor. Basically, there's a PC inside here at some point. And then the other thing I'll mention here is it talks about an RS-232 craft interface. So you can hook up a serial port to this thing, and that's exactly what this connector is. This is the RS-232 serial port. This is the Ethernet port, and it calls the serial port a craft interface. That's common terminology where craft refers to the craftsman, the guy, the technicians who are trained to log on to that interface are called the craftsmen, and the interface for those guys is called the craft interface. Okay, and throughout the whole system is this backplane. Okay, and so all of these cards plug into this backplane, which allows all of the cards to talk to one another through a bus and through various other types of links. Okay, so what we can see here is that there's a list of card functions here: G.23, G.11. Okay, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a quick list of those functions. So the TCC2 card does G.23, communications control. Okay. It does G.11, timing synchronization. Turning the page, the TCC2 card also does G.24, interface ports. G.28, redundant controller card installation. So if one card fails, you can have two of the same card and one will take over. And then card and network level indicators. So this is the oldest control card, and it has this functionality. Okay, the TCCP2 card, the 2 plus, the P stands for plus, I think, is again for the 454 only. It's an enhanced version of the TCC2 card. Okay, so it's an enhanced version of the previous one. The primary enhancements are Ethernet security features and 64K composite clock bits timing. We're not going to worry about what all that is, but it basically does all the same things that the TCC2 card did. Okay, the TCC2 Plus card supports multi-shelf management. It acts as a shelf controller and node controller. Okay, that's the same thing as the TCC2 card. The TCCP2P card allows the ONS 454 node to be a node controller if an M6 shelf is subtended to it. And so what happens is, as I said, you got to have that main shelf, but then you can have an M6 shelf which is off to the side and controlled by the main one. So the TCC2 Plus card allows you to do that subtended control. Okay, and I don't believe the TCC card does that. The original TCC card does not allow that. Okay, so the 2 Plus had to come out for that. Okay. The next section is 3.5, so the TCC2 Plus card was in section 4. And then in section 5 we have the TCC3 card. Okay, the TCC3 card, it says, is an enhanced version of the TCC2 Plus card. Okay, the primary enhancers include increased memory size and compact flash space. It boots up as a 2 Plus card in the older releases of the software, and from 9.2 onward boots up as a TCC3 card. Okay, so it does all the same things. It supports multi-shelf management just like the 2 Plus card did, and acts as a shelf controller and a node controller. It supports up to 30 subtended shelves. Wow. So the subtended shelves could be an M6, okay, subtended to it. When the number of subtended shelves exceeds 12, you have to use the TCC3 rather than the TCC2 Plus, probably due to that memory size enhancement. Okay, and so that gives us the basic idea of the first few controller cards for the that are discussed in Chapter 3. And I'll stop here and continue in the next video. Thanks.